Um,
What is the discussion?
how important do you think the cover letter is for your article?
Oh, pretty important. That's the first thing. Wait, I don't know. You're the editor, but I thought that was the thing the editor reads. That's the first thing they see, right? So,
I'm gonna be quiet for a second here.
okay. So, from my understanding, that is the first thing the editor sees. So it has to like make a point about that your article is cool and useful, and it has to be nice to the editor. Like, don't insult the editor. Uh, Try to find their name, maybe, and say what is the point of your article and why it's good for their journal, and then they will read the article after that. I think it's very important because if they're already bored by the end of the cover letter, they're gonna go bored into the article and they're not gonna accept it. Yes, my opinion. But this is what I learned because
But wouldn't that mean that if you're very good at selling your work, you're more likely to have it
yeah,
published? Isn't that
yeah, of
unfair?
course. Well, I guess I don't know.
Shouldn't it matter on whether you do good science or not?
Everyone who is better at selling their work is better at everything, getting funding, publishing, getting collaborations with bigger people. They will just go up and up and up. Also, if you look nice, you will go up and up and up. Like everything helps. So, but many of these things you can practice, like writing a cover letter. So, if you feel like you cannot sell your science, get some help from someone who knows how to sell stuff. Yes, sorry, this is how the world works. This is how humans work. They like other humans. You have to speak to them, and then they will do things for you. No?
Um,
Yes.
so the thing is that I'm starting to realize. Um, Here, so this was a tweet by an editor. Don't know where for which journal. The Annals of Internal Medicine. Yeah, big guy. Impact factor of 25. Yeah, I know he's. He says, as an editor, I can't tell you how many times I see cover letters where I just wonder. The first impression is the most important one, and too many times it is not the best impression. So here he has a thread on how to write a compelling cover letter.
That's good. That's very nice.
And
He's a
then
very helpful guy.
and then there's another editor who says, as a co-editor, I would say don't bother writing cover letters. We don't read them. All necessary information is in the submission system. I do not understand why this relic from the postal paper submission has survived the automation of the article submission process. And Bernard Suriel sums it up pretty nicely. That's a problem. Half of editors feel very strongly about them and the other half doesn't care. How should researchers know? Now,
I think the journals should maybe talk to their editors and then say, you should read the cover letter. Or say, you should look at the system. And then the journal could even put on the website, our editors read the cover letter, or we only look at the system. You don't have to submit a cover letter. And then this problem would be solved.
we actually don't require it. I realized this the other day because I was looking at a manuscript that did not have a cover letter.
But you don't require. Okay, but they should maybe have told you this in because you realize it yourself. So your boss should have maybe made it
It's
very
literally
clear.
I've only seen it once.
So people still do this.
Yeah.
Like the scientists still write cover letters even if you
Oh
don't
yeah,
require.
all of them. It's wonderful. Most of them are addressed to like either the editor in chief, who will hopefully never actually read your manuscript because then something has gone horribly wrong. Or to the editor at Nature, which is always flattering. I don't work there, but it's nice.
You always
Occasionally to the editor at Neuron or Neuroscience. Just
Okay.
you
This
know.
is like okay. But when you didn't get a cover letter,
Yeah,
were
it
you
doesn't matter for
very?
me. Personally, I don't care about cover letter. I read
Oh,
them. I read them always, but
okay.
I don't really care.
But there are
Um,
editors that do care. So you just
Apparently so.
yeah. So this is why my initial answer was you have to write a good cover letter because it is your first impression. Because this is what I learned,
Well,
right? This is what I learned
yeah.
in the course about writing.
I don't even know if it's the first impression. Sometimes, you open a cover letter later because you think maybe a paper is pretty good and you want to send it out, but then you need to know, are there conflicts of interest? And usually authors will put in their cover letter both their conflicts of interest, the reviewers they recommend, the reviewers they exclude, they put all that info in their cover letter. So that's why I always open it, I always check. But sometimes, it's the last thing I see, not the first.
But this info is also in your system when you do the submission.
No, not necessarily. So we have a few open fields, and this will change, depending on whatever system you use. But there's like generic comments to the editor that you can make when you're submitting a paper. And then sometimes people will put in, don't use this reviewer, do use this reviewer. I recommend this reviewer. And sometimes they don't, and they only put it in a cover letter.
Okay.
It's all the same to me, honestly.
Okay.
But I do read it. Occasionally, they will put acknowledgements only in their manuscript and not in the cover letter. And I have, on 1 or 2 occasions, missed that. And then, I invite the reviewer, and the reviewer replies, no, but I actually looked over this manuscript. And then I look back at the manuscript, and they say in the acknowledgement, we asked this person for advice. So I prefer it when it's in the cover letter. But yeah, it's an interesting point. I think a lot of people don't like writing cover letters. I don't think they add much. But yeah, there are apparently editors who do care a lot. So what do you do? I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so I would just write a nice one, because if you have an editor that does care, it gets you farther. And if you have an editor that doesn't care, then you wasted a bit of time. But not, I hope you don't waste, maybe you waste like several hours or something because there's multiple people looking at it. But you don't waste a week of time writing a cover letter. So I think it's okay.
I hope not. I hope nobody's wasting a week of time on their cover letter.
No, so I think you can waste a few hours on the cover letter and then make a better impression on some maybe then older, I don't know, editor. It sounded a bit like that on Twitter. And yeah, the only thing you lose is a few hours if you have an editor that doesn't look at it. And then if there's someone like you, then they will still see it as a nice place where they can get all information from the authors. So it's still useful to write it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's so much harm done in writing.
I like this guy. Sorry. I'm reading through the reactions to that tweet. Here is a solution that simplifies the process for both sides. Dear editor, read the abstract. Aaron Goodman, I like the way you're thinking. I just like to say there is other info in the cover letter, usually like conflicts of interest, references, blah, blah, that you wouldn't necessarily put in the abstract.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't put that in the abstract ever.
Gerson Paul says, bravo for a ballsy tweet. Okay. He's a nice guy. He then replies, your comment reminds me of a young charismatic oncologist who stood up at a lecture and said to the presenter of an unimpressive study, your study has more co-authors than patients. Everyone is so mean on Twitter. We need a study on online interactions and talks. Oh, we already have that. Yeah, so I talked about this with the other editors at my journal. And
yeah, but they think it's important.
No, so apparently the response was, let me guess, half of them think it's really important and the other half think it doesn't matter. This topic has apparently been around, and this divide between half the editors care and the other half doesn't has been around for equally long.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is one of these kind of vague social things that you can't do right for everyone. There are many of these in life.
It's a darn thing, but what can you do?